People are loving the PP, sure, yeah. They want a bigger PP, a stronger PP, a PP that can just pee more.
Big PP?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of this video, you too can have a big PP to be proud of. That joke is going to get old real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. I am TheXploder, champion of all things that are PP, big and small. Just remember, it doesn't matter the size, it's how you use it. And today I'm going to give you a breakdown of my updated version of the PP deck, or as I like to call it, the Pirate Pete deck. Or I do have another name for it, but I'm going to keep that name for another video because I've updated this deck again, which you'll see later. But I do love this version, so this will get its own dedicated video. Let's cut to the chase and get straight into it. So we are back with another deck list profile made by me. It is PP Lockdown. Now you may remember from my previous version of the deck, which you can check out in a little doobly-doo up on your screen at the moment, you can save that for later, that the last version, even though it was fun, it was quirky, it was too heavily reliant on actions that weren't songs to really make the deck go brr harder than I wanted it to. So I took that to one side, broke it down again and thought to myself, what do I need to do to make this deck a little bit more formidable? Hence, I turned it to a full lockdown deck. So let's get into it. Starting off with our 1-drops. For characters, we're running 34 of them. We're starting off with Robin Hood for Beloved Outlaw, 3 copies of the Robin Hood for 1-drops, because we do have a Robin Hood 5-drop, so we have the ideal shift target. Do we want to play Robin Hood half the time? If it's handy, it's a fantastic 1-drop play, but not too essential if we don't get him. It's handy, 2-2 vanilla, does the job. But our main plays come as of the turn 2 plays and our 2-cost ink plays, being Calhoun. I don't need to go into much detail with Calhoun. She's incredible, she's insane, she helps, fantastic job. Combining her with Smee. I've got 3 Calhouns and 4 Smees because we need to balance out our uninkables a little bit. And 3 Calhouns works perfectly fine. 4 Smees, brilliant to set up the pace and put pressure onto our opponents nice and early. We are also playing with location-based tech in this deck, so of course I'm running one of my favourite cards, John Silver, the Greedy Treasure Seeker. 3 cost 3/3 for 1, and for each location you have in play, this character gains Resist +1 and Law +1, making him incredibly formidable, because yes, your main game plan is to set up lockdown so that your opponent either can't play specific cards, can't play the game in the way they want to, or they can, they just have to pay a lot more ink. So on the sidelines, if that isn't as good of an option for you, your other side way to play the game is to effectively bombard the board full of locations, get out John Silver, quest for big lore, and absolutely sweep the board out of nowhere. John Silver is incredibly handy as well because he's a pirate. We do have some splashy pirate tech in here, and it's going to help really good. We're also running 4 copies of the Pete Referee. Again, we're doing lockdown here, and what's better than locking down on turn 3, slapping down a Pete and going, huh, you want to play actions? How about no? On top of that, then we go to our 4-drops, starting off with Daisy Duck, Pirate Captain. I really like her, and at first it's a lot of requirements in order to get the card draw out of her mechanics. So she is a 4-cost inkable 3/3 for 2, and whenever one of your pirate characters quests while at a location, you draw a card. Seems like a lot of requirements, but even on her own, she's a 3/3 request for 2, which is quite nice. When she uses her effect, it also triggers on herself, so even if she's the only pirate character you have at a location and you quest with her, that is a card draw, nice and easy. We have very easy locations to travel to, so shouldn't be that hard to get the tech to proc off a couple of times. Triggers off of our Smee, triggers off of her directly. It also triggers off of Big Pete, which is a big plus. We've also got 3 copies of the brand new Gantu Experienced Enforcer. He is a 4-cost uninkable 2/4 for 1 and has 2 effects. Close all channels, so when you play this character, characters can't exert to sing songs till the start of your next turn. This includes you, so if you do want to sing songs on this turn, make sure you sing them all before you play Gantu, or else you just can't do it. And then the second effect, which is the main one we want to concern ourselves of, each player pays 2 more to play actions or items. So it doesn't necessarily shut down singing, but it makes it so that if you cannot sing, or if you want to play anything raw, like a Porpsicle for example, Porpsicles by themselves now cost 3 ink, which is incredible. And if you were to play anything like Let the Storm Rage On, Let the Storm Rage On now costs 5 at base, which is mental. This one Gantu alone can shut down an entire board or make it incredibly tough. Putting 2 of these out there, woof. And speaking of Gantu, we've also got 3 copies of the 5-cost Inkball 4-3 for 4 lore Captain Cranky Head, because quite frankly, if we just need to put a big threat out there and threaten that we can quest for 4 next turn, he is a big boy that is going to do big things. Why not? I've talked about the fact we're running 3 copies of the Robin Hood in this version of the deck. Solid 5-drop, solid 3/6 stat line, quest for 2. Whenever he banishes a character in a challenge, you gain 2 lores, which is similar to Calhoun. And when he does get banished in a challenge, you do get a card draw as well. So if he does become a sacrificial lamb, it's not the be all and end all, at least you get a little something out of it. And our last and most important character of the deck are the 4 copies of Pete Space Pirate. He shuts down singing, he gives your pirates resist +1. It's a very handy guy as long as he's exerted, which should be very easy to do. Quest for 2 every turn as well. I love this Pete, and this is why we are making this deck. With that done, we have now restricted our actions down to 5 and increased our songs to 7. So let's break these down. We are now running 3 copies of the 1-drop Improvise. A chosen character gets +1 attack this turn, and you draw a card. It's a cheap, easy option. It buffs up Calhoun, so now Calhoun becomes a 4/2 resist 1. You also draw a card off of it, and quite frankly, even if you've got nothing else to do and you just need to draw a card, this card alone is beautiful just to make that happen. Emerald doesn't have a lot of reliable card draw tech, and in this deck it's hard to get your card draw going. So having Improvise to help helps a lot, and trust me, this card helps a lot more than you may think. Then we're also running 2 copies of Fiber Cannons. 1 copy wasn't enough. 3 to 4 copies was maybe a little bit too much, so I kept it at 2. And you know what? 2's perfectly fine. It's there when you need it, and if you need it on turn 1 to bop out something like a Diablo, something that is just got 2 damage on it, or if you need to bop something that gains bigger attack when it has no damage counters on it, like a Lawrence or Pluto for example, it just helps dink them, so when you bop them to end their lives, you're not bopping them and potentially losing a character as a result. We then have in our songs 3 copies of Heffalumps and Woozles. We're talking lockdown here. We're talking lockdown shutdown tech, and Heffalumps and Woozles helps. It's a 2-cost song, so basically the majority of our characters should be able to sing this if we wanted to sing it. And on top of that, chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn, and we draw a card. We force our opponent to have to challenge or sing. They cannot quest with that character, so if they have their own Smee, for example, Smee can no longer quest for 2 and effectively becomes a 3/3 beat stick. Can be quite scary, but yet again, even if you just play this on turn 2 or play it for 2 ink, and then your opponent just can't quest with one of their big questy dudes, you shut them down and make them have to change their game plans, which is all we want. Plus the extra card draw and this color makeup, beautiful. We're also running 4 copies of Let the Storm Rage On. I don't need to say a lot about a Storm. Fantastic card. You can sing it on curve with a majority of our characters. It lets you draw a card. It bops it. It's beautiful. Running this at 4. As a quirky tech, I'm also running 1 copy of Emerald Chromacon in this version of the deck. It's handy just in case your opponent does get rid of one of your characters during their turn. Then it's absolutely fine. You can bounce back one of yours you can use for later, bounce back one of theirs to again control and manipulate the board, locking down any of their plays so you can keep going and setting tempo. For our locations, we are running 4 copies of the 1-drop Deville Manor. Is it easy to take down? Of course, but guess what? Nothing can take it out in one hit unless it's a big character with a big game plan. And with that in mind, putting this down on turn 1 so that you can gain passive lore at the start of your next turn, beautifully done. I've had a lot of games where people have slept on Deville Manor and not tackled into them until it's a little bit too late. So this is extremely handy. We're also running the 1-drop Hidden Cove, one of my favourite locations in the game. We've upped it to 3, so we've got 4 of Deville, 3 of Hidden Cove. Why have we got Hidden Cove? Because quite frankly, think of this. Hidden Cove combined with Calhoun, this now turns Calhoun into a 4-3 with resist 1. Combine it with John Silver. John Silver now turns into a 4-4, conquest for 2, and also has resist 1. That's pretty nice. Combine it with Pete. Pete turns into a 6-6, and when he's exerted, has resist +1. The combos alone with Hidden Cove make it an incredible card. Makes your characters way more beefy to deal with, makes it so you can bash harder. It's a beautiful location. It helps trigger John Silver's effect. It is fantastic. As for our 2-drop locations, we are running 3 copies of Seven Dwarfs Mine, which is an incredible card on its own. A little bit expensive to move a character in there to just bop it for 1, but in case you just need to bop an opposing character for 1, again, hitting something like Lawrence or hitting something like Pluto, just so they go down by 1 health, so they don't have their big attack pulls, so you can swing into them then for even bigger damage later. Also help triggers things like John Silver to make him a big beefier boy that can just quest for even more. Seven Dwarfs Mine is great, not majorly essential, but that's why we only have it at 3. And for our last location, also at 3, we have the 3-drop Galactic Council Chamber. I really love this location. On curve, it's beautiful. Costs 1 to move to, 7 willpower, which makes it a very beastly location to have to take down. Gives you 1 lore passively at the start of each and every one of your turns. But the juicy part of it is its effect. While you have an alien or robot character here, this location can't be challenged. Now, what's the importance of this? Easy. With this location on board, move your Gantu into this location. Now your opponent has to pay 2 for everything, and they can't even attack the council chamber. Move your bigger Gantu here. Gantu can quest for 4, they can't hit the council chamber. They can hit your Gantu, but guess what? You get that 1 passive law at the start of your turn. You can win the game. Trigger John Silver. John Silver is an alien and a pirate, and gets the +1 law and the resist +1 as a result of the effect. It makes him dope as hell. Huh, crazy. And so with all that being said, this deck by itself has some quirky tech in there. You're relying on a combination of your characters and locations to really control the board, lock down your opponent's plays, and make things play for you. I really loved playing this deck at my locals. It top 8'd at my locals. It was really fun to play, but there were some glaring flaws. And when I say glaring, not incredibly glaring, I just think there could have been some improvements in this deck, hence why this isn't the final version. The final version will be in another video coming soon. So the issues I had with this deck are here so. Robin Hood never really saw play. I'll be extremely honest with you. Never really saw play at all. I never really used the 1-drop Robin Hood. I mostly had the 1-drop Devilles or the 1-drop Hidden Coves in my hand, so they came out more consistently. So if anything, I'm willing to take the Robin Hood out and also take out the Shift Robin Hood, because guess what? I didn't even really get to play the Shift Robin Hood either, even as a shift play or just as a raw 5-drop, because it just didn't seem to work that well. It just didn't come out, didn't even have any real good targets to bop into to gain 2 from. It was too slow, and I think that was the main trick here. As much as I was trying to lock down, these were the odd ones out that weren't locking down and weren't giving me the major benefits that I needed. If anything, they were mostly sitting in my inkwell, so it was time for them to come out. On top of that, the other card that was just not doing enough work for me was Emerald Chromacon. It's a handy little tech, absolutely, but 9 times out of 10 I want to bounce things back into my opponent's hand, and then because I've not got anything to really discard cards from my opponent's hand to take full advantage of Chromacon, it's a bit of a wasted slot. It's another uninkable as well, where I could put a 4th Calhoun in, a 4th Gantu in, maybe even a extra copy of one of my other Uninkables, or even put in Along Came Zeus, which is not in this deck, which was a glaring fault as well. I would have benefited a lot more from playing Along Came Zeus, because then I can sing that with Daisy, I can sing it with Gantu, I can sing it with Bigger Gantu, I can sing it with Pirate Pete if I really need to, if I need to sing it, and especially if I have the Experienced Enforcer out, he himself can sing Along Came Zeus for turn after he has played, which makes him extremely good as a target for that. So overall, Chromicon was just a random spot that I don't think really sits. And even then, those problems I have may have just been quirky little issues here or there, but the deck worked beautifully. I highly recommend it. It's a little bit high on the budget. It is $145 at base if you really want to get into this, and most of that money comes from Calhoun, it comes from Champion of Sherwood, so it is pricey if you want to get into it, but you can do some quirky alternatives if you don't like those, if you more so want to bolster up the deck on the character side with pirates, or if you want to bolster it up with locations to make your John Silver plays and your more location tech a little bit more frivolous. But that is my PP deck. It's big, it's huge, it's strong, and I highly recommend it. But would you make any changes to PP? Would you like to see version 3 of my PP deck, which I believe is even better than this one? Let me know your thoughts over in the comments, and if you let me know your thoughts, you could feature in a future video. Coming soon. Remember that. On top of all that, go down to the description below, hit me up on my socials if you want to talk more about how big your PP is, as well as sharing with me any of the decks you're working on, or letting me know if you want to see anything specific from the channel, be it here, TikTok, or elsewhere. With all that being said, I'll be seeing you guys in the next video for even more Lorcana action. Until then, be sure to stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay explosive. And I'll be seeing you guys next time. What is up with these bloody finger guns? Of all things, it was finger guns? Come on!